Good evening, everybody. This is Beverlane Haynes. Thank you for joining me on Claim Your Mastery TV. Tonight we're going to be having the pleasure of the magnificent and master healer, Lisa Ohtaras. And tonight Lisa is going to be speaking with us about cancer, the impact and how it manifests. Whoops, I just lost one of my crystal balls. Lisa is a lady who had an awakening through her own life experience and has spent the last many years seeking knowledge, getting a greater understanding and becoming a very profound and I guess magnificent healer in her own right. So we're just going to invite Lisa on now.
Thank you for inviting me to be a speaker here this evening. I'm really feeling very honoured to be here to share the wisdom that I have acquired during the last 2 decades, because my role is, as yours is, to be of service wherever we can and to help people live the best and highest version of themselves. And, you know, I want to be able to share what I have learned that I know has made a marked difference in my life and that of all the people that are guided to me that I help, because it's transformative to know this knowledge. So I would like to start by saying that whenever anything happens to us, the soul is creating everything. It is in a co-creation process between you and another person, whether it be male, female, or groups of people. And it's always going to be in relation to growth, always, particularly illnesses. Illnesses are part of our life. Why? Well, because throughout previous incarnations, we've had experiences that we never healed. And these things are now in every single person surfacing because our soul wants these wounds, emotions or illnesses or experiences healed. They're recreating timelines from past through situations, circumstances and events. Why? Because they are seeking from us, through our spirit, growth. And growth is what the soul is seeking for every single person. There is no exception here. And for people that don't believe in what I'm saying, well, I want to put it like this to you, because I was sort of a bit of a non-believer and a bit of a skeptic too before I became ill, until I had the understanding of what happened to me, and then I healed myself and was asked to continue growth and then help others. And for those that don't believe in past lives, I will say this to you, perhaps it may give you another perspective, and that is, so if you've got a phobia, for example, of dogs, you've never owned a dog, you don't interact with a dog, but you are terrified of dogs, you know, ask the question, where do you think that comes from? That could be the same for spiders, for cockroaches, for cats. You could be frightened, absolutely terrified of water. You've never drowned in this lifetime. You've never been on a boat. You don't go to the beach, but you're terrified of water. And the reason is you've had some sort of past experience in a different previous incarnation where you could have been hurt, you could have been harmed in some way, shape or form, or you could have had a death. And that is part of your soul's imprint, and that inner being, or it could be more than one inner being if you've recreated that, those inner beings are wanting this to be healed. So for those of you that don't believe in reincarnation, that's just a little example I will give you. But I want to talk about illness tonight. That's just to get you thinking, you know, outside of the box. But I want to now explain about illnesses and how particularly cancer is the greatest gift that we are given. And that sounds a little bit quite bizarre, but it's actually true. And I felt the same way when I was told I had MS. Warning signs, to me, that was on par with cancer. Incurable in a lot of cases, but MS is still today incurable.
Please, Lisa, before you go any further, I'd just like to reiterate what you've just said then. So what were you saying previously is that through many lifetimes and through pain, through injury, through illness, our soul manifests in other lifetimes illnesses that we've had previously, and that will come to the surface again unless the emotion around the dis-ease is not healed. Is that what one of the things that you were just saying?
Correct. These energies are sitting either in our chakras, in our DNA, in our ethereal body, the aura, but they are part of our genetic, they're part of our makeup, and they are sitting there waiting for us to make that connection. And our soul, which is, and I have said this before, the sum total of the collective consciousness of who we are. And what that means is every incarnation, that's one inner being. And the soul's the sum total of every lifetime you've ever had. And the spirit is our name and our personality. And through our spirit, the soul creates everything that is happening to us. Why? Because it wants expansion of consciousness, and the soul is wanting growth. So what happens is when it comes to illnesses, and I really tonight want to home in on cancer because it's such a prevalent illness, and it really is. When you make the connection to your inner self and you connect to your higher self and have the awareness, you'll actually see it for what it is, and it's the greatest gift you're given. And that sounds a little bit, well, quite bizarre to a lot of people, but you actually do see it as a gift when you actually make the connection, because what it is it helps you to get in touch with who you really are. It helps you to learn the art of forgiveness, not of yourself, just yourself, but other people. And it helps you to release past life emotions that are also being recreated in this lifetime. And I'll explain now, before we incarnate, what happens, and then I'll elaborate on the cancer bit. That's really, really, really important for people to perhaps have the awareness so that they can work with the energy rather than feel like a victim, because you're not a victim when you have cancer. It's actually a gift. So before we're born, we actually get to select. We actually get placed into a room, and this room is full of souls, and I've actually been taken there to the inner dimension. I've actually been shown how all this happens. The masters took me over years ago, and I actually got shown this, and that's how I can talk about it. And I've never until now spoken about it publicly. I do it one-on-one all the time, but it's now time for the public to be aware so that they can have a greater comprehension of what is really going on in their lives. And my role is to help you all. That's what I'm seeking to do. So they took me over, the ascended masters took me to the inner dimension. My astral body went to the inner dimension, and I was placed in the room, and they showed me how it all worked. And what happens is the room is full of people. They're souls, they're ethereal beings, and they're people that you've interacted with in past. Some of them are angels and archangels, others are human beings that have had previous incarnations with you, and you make the agreement who you actually select. Who's your mother? Who's your father going to be? Your siblings. You select your children. You select your spouse. You select your gender. The day you were born, the day you will be born, the time you will be born, to whom. You select the country you will be born in. You even choose your name. You select everything, and this is the crucial part. You actually select the illnesses you will experience. And most of us have actually chosen to experience cancer in some shape, way or form. And, you know,
Lisa,
we select...
Lisa, just let me
Yes.
interrupt there.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that the cancer that's so prevalent now,
Yes.
isn't environmental. It is a choice that we've made prior, when we've gone into our selection process, when we've decided to come forward. So you're not saying that it's due to environmental issues such as animal fats, such as petrol biochemicals. It's got nothing to do with our environment or our climate. That it has everything to do. It's got nothing to do with electromagnetic field fallout, and it's not generational. It is something that we have chosen prior. So all the commonalities and the collective issues that come together when assessing cancer clusters and things like that are by choice, not by environment.
So it's a co-creation process. Absolutely, it's by choice, and the agreements are made before we come into this incarnation that at the right time, the right situations, the right circumstances and events, and I'll talk about that in a minute, what that means, will come into play, and quite often it will involve environmental factors. However, that's only 5% of it. 95% is the emotions, 95%. So 5% is external. We're talking electromagnetic, we're talking pollution, radiation. That is 5%. 95%, I was told, is created from within, and it is created by the soul for the expansion of consciousness, for us to connect to who we are, to learn the lessons that I will talk about in a minute. But I was told this, one cancer cell is given to every single person on planet Earth before we incarnate. So we are given one cancer cell, and this cancer cell circulates throughout our lymphatic system. And I should have mentioned before we come down here, not only do we select what we're going to, who our parents are in the family, we select the illnesses, we also select whether we are going to go down the path of chemotherapy, radiation therapy, natural therapies, or some people like myself, no medicine. That's all selected before we come down. And that's why chemotherapy and radiation therapy is totally needed. Why? Because there's a reason for that, and I'll explain that in a minute too. But before we come in, we know we're going to have this illness, but what happens is we select not only our genders, we select whether we're going to be heterosexual, bisexual or gay. We make agreements with our parents, if we have parents and not foster parents, that when I come down and I choose to be gay in this lifetime, I want you to be really mean to me, Mum, and I want you, Dad, to be really supportive of me. Why? Because that's part of the soul's journey, because the challenges are there. The older you are, and I'm not talking in physical years, the older you are in spiritual terms, meaning the more incarnations you have had, the greater your challenges are going to be, and I mean the greater. So that's why so many wonderful people out there, really lovely people, are having really, really, really challenging and difficult times, because they're old souls, and the soul's recreating timelines from past that want to be healed this lifetime, because this incarnation is all about the growth. Yes, we're here to have fun, and yes, we're here to, develop qualities in us, but the most important thing we've come to do is to do the spiritual and personal growth so that the soul can expand its consciousness and the soul can heal. That is why we have emerged here. So we select
Lisa, just a question. One
yes.
of our beautiful people that are watching this evening, they're saying, but I presume it's you have a choice to change your treatment, so you have a choice to change your mind.
Absolutely,
so we have
absolutely.
Free will here.
Absolutely. We select when we're in the inner dimension as souls that I'm going to go down and experience chemo and radiation therapy. However, when we come down here, sometimes when you see the effects of it, you sometimes will change your mind and take the natural route and go down alternative therapies. Okay, but quite often people will follow the agreement they made, because the soul is so strong in that area, and that's the agreement. But you've got free will. We've all been given free will at birth. Every single one of us has free will, so you can change your mind at any time. However, let me talk about cancer. This is what the divine really tonight wants me to home in on.
Answering questions for Lisa. Answering questions for our clients, my darling.
Right. Okay. Yes. Is there another question?
No, that was the question, but we just need to answer this question. So,
right. I'm sorry. Okay, apologies for that. Yes, yes, you can change your mind at any time. So we've selected all our illnesses, including cancer. Now, I want to really, really explain this about cancer. Cancer is these emotions. Cancer is anger, resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness, and a lot of people also have the hatred. And these are emotions that contribute to cancer being formed in the body. Now, there isn't a person on the planet that doesn't have these emotions, because the soul makes sure it creates them. It does it through your family, through your children, through your spouses, through your relatives, through affiliates, through your career. It's just part of the process of life. And this is why personal growth and spiritual growth is so important. So when this does happen, you actually release things straight away and don't harbor resentment and bitterness. It's like, because it's all growth. So when we are aware of the things we've chosen just before we come into this incarnation, everything that we've agreed to, and I'm talking everything we've agreed to in the inner dimension, is deleted from our memories. We come down here not remembering anything, because up there it looks very easy. I know, because I've been shown with my life, how could I choose all the things I've had to experience? Well, I did, and I did it very consciously as a soul before I came down here, because the soul wanted all these things healed. So it's everything you choose is deleted from your memory, simply because if you came down here knowing you would experience this, we would never choose to do it, because there's no emotions in the inner dimension. You've got to have a physical body to have the emotions, and it looks so easy from up there, but down here it's not so easy, because you get faced with all different personalities that come into your life. Up there it's just a very different scenario. So we are born, we come down, we've got all these agreements that we've made with our soul about what's going to happen to us and for us. So we've chosen our families, we've chosen the religion, the nationality, all of that, and it's all part of the journey. And then the lessons start as soon as we are conceived. And it starts in the mother's womb for some, and others it starts at birth. So already before we're born, things are already there in our system, and part of the work that I do is releasing the male and female genetic stress which we inherit at birth, and that they tell me how crucial this is, and people feel so light and buoyant after that. So we come down here, and the lessons, the experiences start, and this is all the foundation for the growth. Parents are the instrument for our growth from the very onset. So experiences start, and we know everything that's going on, because we're all very come down on a lot of us, and this is why little children spirits in rooms, and you know, the parents don't know what they're looking at, but if you look at babies, they will often, and people have brought children to me and say, oh, they say they've got an imaginary friend. Well, the friend is real, the parents can't see them, but the child can. So all these experiences happen, and anger, bitterness, resentment and unforgiveness sets in. Now, when there's enough of that in our system, that cancer cell that's circulating in the lymphatic system, and we all get given one, every single one of us, that then gravitates to an organ in the body, and every organ has an emotion. Every single organ in the body, that's what the metaphysical is. And like, you know, if someone comes to me and they've got stomach cancer, for example, I know straight away they worry and they obsess, because that's the emotion. They're the two emotions of the stomach. And so when you've got enough of a specific emotion, that cancer cell gravitates to that organ, and what it does, it multiplies. And then, you know, people will quite often go to a doctor and they say, I don't feel.
I'll just reiterate on some of the feedback that you were receiving during that. And one of the comments that was made was that I guess the journey of the soul and the what we manifest in this lifetime can also be what some people term as soul contracts, Lisa. So it's just not, well, it is a soul contract. If it's something that we contract to us before we come down here, then I guess we make manifest the environment, we make manifest the conditions, and we make manifest the life through our free choice and will to be able to create the conditions that come through these different cancers and dis-ease and illness in the body. Would you say so?
Yes, that's my understanding from the divine, yes.
Yeah, okay. So if you'd like to pick up, because everyone's jumping back in now, which is really lovely. Lisa, through your own experience and this epiphany and this amazing, I guess, transportation that you experienced through being shown this whole process, how do you impact change with your clients that come and see you now that have cancer?
So how do I impact them? I help the people to have awareness of why the illness is present. So I give them the tools to help them to have awareness so that they have more of an understanding. And my role is to open the heart chakra, because the heart chakra is the gateway to the soul. When this opens and the understanding is present and I help with self-awareness, what happens is they then come in and work with the energy within here and they do the growth. And the growth is to firstly have the awareness of why the illness is present, which is what the insight that I will shed. Then they release it, the emotion relating to the person, the people, the group of people, and then they forgive. They forgive the people involved in the situation that has caused this illness, this problem. Sometimes it's a collective and there's more than one person involved, and they forgive the person, forgive themselves, because they co-created to experience this. And then, of course, giving gratitude for the entire experience. And
Lisa, can I just ask,
yes,
having been a cancer survivor myself, do you think that sometimes the person that has the cancer has it for the purpose of a greater and better good of the tribe or the family, or for science, or for the evolution?
Totally. There's many factors involved. Sometimes it's not our illness. It belongs to our ancestral lineage, and they've recreated it because this lifetime is about the growth, and they are wanting us to heal it. So it's not always about us. Sometimes the emotion that has triggered it is definitely from past. And when a person comes to me, I actually get the insight as to is it their illness? Is it to do with this incarnation, or is it past that is being recreated to be healed? Quite often, it actually does belong to the ancestral lineage, and they are wanting it healed.
Yeah. So the situation and the disease is created for the healing to make manifest, I guess, the generational clearing, and also for it not to go down to any future generations. Yes.
Correct. That's why it's so prevalent right now in this incarnation, so people can get in touch with the emotions so that they can clear this generationally, because fifth dimensional living is all about unconditional love, and this is where the divine is trying to get us all to be, and this energy can't live in that environment because it's unconditional. So cancer is actually a gift when people actually make that connection to their inner self, because the inner beings, the higher self, explains to you this has been done for you, not to you, to help you make the connection to your inner self, to have the awareness of why you have emerged and why you are here. And you know, you have a lot of time to think when you have cancer, because quite often you will feel debilitated, you will feel so unwell, particularly if you take the route of Western therapy, Western medicine, which will be the chemo and the radiation therapy, which is purposeful because that gives you plenty of time to think. And the thinking is all about asking and questioning, why is this happening to me? Explain. Like, that's what I did when I got sick. I wanted answers. Why do I have this illness? Explain to me, like, why? And I was waiting for answers to come, and they came. When you ask the question and you make the connection to your inner self, you will get the answers. So with cancer, I was told this only not so long ago, within the last year, that chemotherapy and radiation therapy is so purposeful for people with cancer. And they said, and the reason why is it has side effects to make people so sick, which is created by the soul purposely. Why? So the person is debilitated so much that they actually can't work. They are generally not even bedridden, but at least house-ridden, so that they have lots of time to think and start questioning why. And at that point, it's like the soul, the higher self's giving you the awakening to make that connection to your inner self. And this is why so many of us are around now, so many people like us that are helping people to have awareness and that are giving free information out to help people to make that connection, because we are all meant to be questioning why. Why is this happening? Because there's so much more to us. We're just not people. We're here on a mission, and that is to expand our consciousness, to heal the soul, and for the soul to have healing. And it does it through our spirit, which is through our growth, and of course, which is personal and spiritual growth. And then of course the balance is that energetic healing that people have to balance their physicality and their aura. So
Lisa,
yes.
I also would add to that as well. You know, you're talking about our elevation and consciousness, and I think that a lot of disease, a lot of cancer, and a lot of illness that come into that are around at the moment, especially because it's so prevalent at the moment. I also feel it has part of the helping the greater consciousness come together in community so we can work together as one. So I feel that dis-ease is something that brings the community together, from nurses to doctors to radiologists to physiotherapists to occupational therapists to natural therapists. So it brings us together in a collective consciousness that helps elevate humanity into a collective consciousness, and also helps us to work together in unity, both family and nurturing, to bring out nurturing, to bring out support, to bring out. So it really helps, you know, because, you know, you really know who your friends are when your chips are down. You know, you really know who's going to help you. So it gives other people the opportunity. It really helps bring out the nurturing side of some people and opens up their heart chakras. So it helps us come together in community. I don't know about being a bit of a masochist. I don't think anyone's a masochist. I mean, that's a mental condition, I think. I feel that, you know, you might come with a disease, Janine, but the doctor comes in with the ability to help you, or the naturopath comes in with the ability to help you heal. So we're all in service to a greater humanity, no matter what role you choose to play.
That's exactly right. And Beth, I couldn't concur more with you. That's why the people that choose to go down the Western route and have the radiation therapy and chemotherapy, absolutely purposeful for them, because that's part of their soul's journey. Other people are going to go totally alternative and go down the natural therapies, and then other people will choose to do nothing at all and just do the personal and spiritual growth, because they've got such awareness that they know that that's their path, because the soul is so connected, they're so integrated with who they are. And there is no right and wrong here. What it is every single person is individual, and every single person's soul knows exactly what they are here to do and to undertake. And, you know, the more conscious you become, that means the more awareness you have of who you actually are, because we're not our name and our personality. Who we really are, that's just part of us. Who we really are is the collective of the soul. All of us, the whole totality of every lifetime we've ever had, that's who we really are. And when you really have awareness, what happens is you start to make connection with all of these beings in here, particularly when you meditate, and they come through and they speak to you. And it's like, I know this from my experience, and I will share this very openly. Whenever something happens to me, whether I get a sore throat or I get a little twinge of pain, guess what? I ask the question straight away, why do I have this? And straight away, I get the answer. And so immediately I do the growth. I will do a radical forgiveness worksheet and I will release immediately, because I will not hold on to anything that is not conducive to wellness. And you know what? The symptom goes within literally minutes. But if I do not do the growth, that will then manifest into something more chronic, and it will be something that is not conducive to wellness for me and well-being. And I don't like to live like that. Now, not just because this is happening to me, it can't not happen to others because I'm like everybody else. And what is happening to me is for everybody. And I'm just here to pass on the information I've learned to help you all to understand that when something happens, it's been created from within by your soul in a co-creation process with another person or other people. Now, there could be environmental factors, because if that's what you're meant to experience, your soul will put you in that right condition for that to happen. And so what happens is everything comes together and you're a vibrational match to the illness. And then the illness becomes, well, first of all, you'll feel uneasy, then you get dis-ease, and when you put that together, the disease forms. And when it forms, you see, it's in cancer and other illnesses are here in the ethereal body, your aura, 6 to 9 months before it goes into the physical body. And you know, this actually happens. When people come to see me for a healing, when they walk into my room, I look into their aura and I can see shadows. And they are dark shadows, and I can see there's illness there. You know, at the end of the healing, that is gone. It vanishes, because energy healing is so powerful. Never underestimate the power of energy healing, people, because I've seen the transformation of energy in front of my very eyes, because I can see energy. And when it's in the physical body, it is harder to heal, but I've seen cancers healed within 2 hours. And I mean that because people have come to me with tumours sticking out of their bodies, and 2 hours later, they are gone. And I have seen that. And I have got even documentation to support that. So I know how quickly, you see, this is about people today having this understanding. When you have awareness, and when you release those emotions and you are full, and I mean full, of gratitude for what you have learned, and you really, really forgive at a soul level, that is where the magic happens. I do soulful forgiveness workshops, and you should see what happens. It is unbelievable. The emotions that come up, because it's the soul working through the spirit, and the clients write letters, and they're personal. No one reads them. They're very personal. They're between them and their creator. They shred them at the end. No one discusses it. It's such a private and sacred setting, and it is deep soul purging. And I've done 5 now from here, and I'm going to be doing these more global, because the divine said these are needed for everybody. Everybody has issues, and when they're in the sacred setting, the emotions surface. So with cancer, I saw a lady, and this story, this happened in around 2006, 2007. This lady came to me, she was 38 years old. She had 2 tumours sticking out of her abdomen. They were like this, they were long like this, one on either side. And in her pelvic area, she had one this big, 50-cent piece. She was 38 years old. She had ovarian cancer, but it had metastasized. She had metastatic cancer. She'd had this for 4 years. She had chemotherapy and radiation therapy for 4 years. So she comes to me and she's dying. She said that she had been told that they can't do anything more for her, that she's going to die. And she didn't want to die. She had a 13-year-old daughter. They both came to me. And so I brought her in, and she took my hand. She said, feel my tumours. And they were like frankfurts, one on either side of her abdomen, and that third one. And I thought, oh my goodness. And she said, Lisa, I don't want to die. And I said, well, I'll see what I can do to help you. So I did a healing on her, and it was Saturday afternoon, and she came off a plane straight to me. She came from overseas. And, you know, I did a healing, and I said to her, look, I'm getting guided. Please come back tomorrow. I explained why the tumours were there. I told her, because I got the download. And I said to her, this, you know, growth, radical forgiveness, I'm going to get you to go and see my sister. And she said, yes, 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 I'll do everything. And I said, I want you to return tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So she returned at 9 o'clock. And when I opened the door, she was beaming. She was really happy. And I said, you're happy today? And she said, Lisa, you're not going to believe. And I said, what's that? And I took her into the healing room. She grabbed my hand and she said, feel. The 2 on either side of her abdomen completely gone, and the other one had gone from a 50-cent to a 5-cent. Now, by day 3, that one had also gone, because she let me feel. And I said to her, when did these 2 on the side go? During the night? She says, no, 2 hours after I left your home, 2 hours after, she said, I felt and they were gone. And I thought, my goodness, that is amazing. And then by day 3, the other one had gone. And I said to the divine, so explain this to me, please. How does this happen when she's had 4 years of chemo and radiation therapy? They said, it's very simple, Lisa. She made the agreement with you before she was born that when her...
Lisa, you were just about to, I guess, share this lady's sacred contract with you, and
Yes.
And yeah, so but before we go, before we share this, because that was an absolute miracle, but I mean, it was obviously the sacred contract that she put into place prior to coming in. It was her soul contract.
Correct.
But when you were talking about disease in the body and all those other things, as far as the medical fraternity and how they all work together with the mind, the body, and the spirit. And for us to be able to be here, I guess, consciously, that our body and our physical body, our emotional body, and our ethereal bodies all need to be in alignment with each other for our shift. So
correct.
Yeah, I think that after you finish telling us what this woman said, Lisa, I really feel that it'd be beautiful if you could give some information to our viewers who have all come back again. Thank you so very much. As Lisa said just previously, this is a test of patience, and we've both got the patience of saints, so they can test all that. And this is just an opportunity to shine on perseverance, and also Lisa's got an amazing message that she wants to share. But I think once you've shared this particular message that this amazing lady had with the modality that you do, if you'd be able to, I guess, help our viewers with some advice on how they can, because can you prevent a soul contract from manifesting?
My understanding is if you make the connection to your inner self and you start doing the growth, you can prevent things from taking place. Sometimes the journey is going to be such your soul's going to create it, but it will dissipate a lot sooner than what it would have. But other times I definitely have seen things averted 100%, because I actually have seen it through the work I do, because I have seen illness in the aura, and this is what happened. I cleared it and I gave the client insight into growth required that I was getting for them. So I was having the awareness, please tell the client this and this to do this growth, and they went away and did it. So because they did the forgiveness work that I set for them, and it's all guided from their higher self to my higher self, what happened was they went away and did it, and so the illness was averted. So providing they come in and do the growth, you know what, things can definitely change. And I have seen it over and over and over again. That's why I'm so passionate about this soulful forgiveness, because it's working directly with the soul. And this is why the divine created it, and they asked me to implement it and do it with my clients. And I have done 5 here. Now I'm going to take it out and I'm going to do it to other areas. Why? Because I think if I can reach one person in every family, that domino effect will help the entire family, and I know it will. And this is why I'm so passionate about this. So let me finish the story about this little soul that came.
Yes,
she was 38 years old, and her 13-year-old daughter accompanied her, and she'd come from overseas. And by day 3, the tumours had gone, and I thought, wow. And the divine said she is now healed, and I didn't believe that. I thought, well, that's not right. That can't be. And they said, you will see. And this is all they said, you will see. So the day she was leaving, she asked me for a pen and paper, and I said, why? And she said, I want to write a testimonial. And I said, why? And she says, because I want to. So she wrote her name and what she had and what had happened. And I have it in my book here. I have a folder of testimonials, and she wrote what happened to her, and she said, I give Lisa total permission to talk about this story, and she wrote her full name. And I said, when you go home, go back to your doctor and ask for a full body scan, which she did. And she rang me and she said she was completely free of cancer. Now, I'm not a miracle worker. Be clear about this. But what I do is I facilitate the movement of energy on people, and I give them the insight to help them with the awareness, so they then go away and do the appropriate growth. And guess what will happen? Your soul will come in and do the healing for you, because any healer doesn't heal people. We facilitate the movement of energy. We are here to help you to get in touch with who you are. For those that can't do that, we help the transformation of energy by transforming it, yes, but we do not heal you per se. Your soul will come in and do the healing because it responds to your growth. Now, some people say, well, that doesn't make sense to me because I've had cancer and I went into remission. Yes, you went into remission, but your soul is still wanting the growth. Remission is exactly that, remission, because the soul wants the growth. It wants you to learn the lesson of humility. The divine said to me, cancer is the humility disease. They said, because when you are so sick, you have plenty of time to think, and you most times you want to live. Most people don't want to die when they have cancer. It's just the awakening. It's the spiritual awakening for them to make the inner connection to who they are. So what happens is this. When you make the connection and you do the growth, your soul comes in and does the magic, and it will do the healing for you and transform the energy, as happened with that lady. The divine explained to me, she made the agreement with you before you were born that when she became ill, she would find her way to you and you would be the healer. So she could have gone anywhere else, and she did. And she had chemo and radiation therapy for 4 years, and she's even written it in her testimonial. But guess what happened? Nothing happened. In fact, it spread through her body because she had to meet me. Now, there's plenty of people like me around, not just in this profession, energetic healing.
Lisa, just one moment,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Yes,
Lisa.
yes.
So do you think that happened for you?
Oh, totally. It happened for her, for
Because
her
it's
growth.
just not you, because, the person with the cancer, yes, it just doesn't happen. Her healing was as much as a miracle for your belief as it was for her healing. So there was
Totally.
a mutually exchange
Oh,
of
yes. Energy.
blessings, of
Oh, yes.
openings, of shifting of energy for both of you. So, and that's
Yes.
what it is with healing. It's mutual. There's two people
Absolutely.
involved in healing. There's the
Yes.
client, or the client with the disease, and there's the
Yes.
medium with the consciousness, and I guess the facilitation of whatever the modality is that you happen to be in charge of. But it's also about gifting the client the responsibility required for them to claim it and for them to
Yes.
learn and to grow from it.
That's correct.
So there's no 50%. To get 100% of healing, you need a collaboration
Oh,
of both
totally.
parties coming together in belief and perfect and divine timing
Oh,
for that to come
absolutely.
together. So it's
I
not just not the
concur.
client who receives; it's the healer that receives as well. Because even like it can be. It doesn't matter how many times you help a human being. Being a healer myself, it's just and being the facilitator of the healing, I need to say, is it's just mind blowing
Oh,
to
totally.
think that
Absolutely.
you've been gifted the skills that
Oh,
help
yes.
with this exchange of absolute and complete
Yes.
trust. Beautiful Janine
Oh,
Bracken, I think, needs to contact you as well. So Janine's just said, sounds so awesome, I'd like to try this way. So Janine and anybody else who wants to contact Lisa through this page, please reach out to her. That's why, Lisa's here, is for everyone to be able to know the many gifts that this amazing lady has, and to be able to communicate with her and to have the epiphanies and the healings. And we'd love it if you would share our live feeds while we're going really well, if you can share it out so Lisa can reach a greater audience. I think on the left-hand side there's a little share button. If you just share it out so Lisa can reach, and Claim Your Mastery TV can reach a wider audience. Because there's so many people out there who don't have the knowledge or have the connection to Lisa, that through this show, more people will hear about the amazing gifts and the amazing transformations that she's able to make in people's lives. So, yeah, the exchange is mutual, and I feel that as amazing as it was, Lisa, happened as much for you as does your client.
I absolutely concur with you, because whenever I work with any person, regardless of who they are, it gives me such incredible honor. I feel so deeply honored to be in the position where I can utilize what I have been blessed to have spiritually, my gifts, my talents, my spiritual acumen, to help the person to have awareness so that they can co-create in their own healing. Because this is what I'm all about, helping people to understand that they can do this from within, just like I did it for me, and many others that I have had the pleasure to work with have done it for themselves, because I'm just an instrument of their destiny, as are other healers, and they get as much out of it as we. The reward, it's a mutual thing. It's like a marriage in heaven. When you help someone, it's like they receive the healing and you are blessed to be living your sacred contract. And it's like, it's so elating for your inner beings, because they love the fact that you're actually fulfilling your life purpose.
As one of your beautiful clients here, Janelle, apparently she's coming to see you on Saturday.
Yes,
Lisa,
she is.
while we have magnificent contact and beautiful clarity here, you're more clearer than what you've been all night. So obviously the connection is much clearer and brighter. I'd really like you, for those people who didn't get to see the beginning of the show and it's been a bit fractured, would you be able to reiterate on what you believe how our healing journey is manifest from from where you believe our soul contracts are made before we come down, just to bring all of this together so people know how this started this evening?
Certainly. So I did say at the very onset, so before we are born, and I know this to be 100% accurate, because my astral body has been taken to the inner dimension and I have been shown this. I spend a lot of time in the inner dimension and learning from the ascended masters, and I do that a lot in my sleep state. And I was taken there many, many years ago, and I was placed in a room and I was shown how the process takes place. So I know this is true. And so we are souls, and we are gathered in a room, and there's many, many people from your past that are ethereal beings, souls, and there's some angels in there, there's ascended masters in there, and you make agreements with these people at a soul level about virtually everything, and there is someone that is overseeing this. And the agreements are, you choose your parents, you choose the day you will be born, the country you will be born, the date of birth, the time you're born, you choose your name, you choose your husband if you're going to marry, you choose the gender, your sexuality, you choose your illnesses. And by that I mean you include cancer in there, because we all have the willingness to come down here knowing that we are coming here for expansion of consciousness. We are coming down here for the soul's journey. We are coming here for the soul to heal, for the soul to have expansion of consciousness. How does it do it? It's going to do it through our spirit. And we come here with this knowing that all these things are going to happen, and we've selected everything. But guess what? Before we come down, our memory is deleted. Why? Because if we come down knowing, it's like we wouldn't go through it. Now, in saying that, I want to be really clear and like, we're going to have 3-4 marriages. Some of us choose to be free-spirited, where we're just going to be very liberal with everything about our lives. Others choose to be very conservative. Others choose to have a life of purity. Like, it's all chosen before we come down. Now, in saying that, nothing is ever set in stone. Things can change and do change. Why? Because we have free will. Free will is given to us at birth, and things can change, and they do change based on choices we make. So I this evening spoke quite a bit about cancer, because I wanted everyone to be aware that cancer is not a disease that manifests to kill us. It's a disease, and the divine calls it the humility disease, because you become humbled. Why? Well, because when you are healed of cancer, when you do the growth and your inner being see that you've understood the lessons behind it, and you've learnt the lessons of love, compassion, opening your heart to loving yourself and others, compassion, understanding, empathy, sympathy for others, all these wonderful positive qualities, but the most important is the unconditional love. When you learn all that, you become so humble that you see it as a gift, because you actually transform so much energy, and you treat yourself different with respect, but also other people differently. It's the most humbling experience. I know, because when I had MS, it changed me. I never in my life, once I healed, took anything for granted. And as I've got older, 21 years later, I'm so now incredibly grateful to be living, and every day for me is a gift, because it's like, I shouldn't be here with what I had. I was that sick. But guess what? That's the same with cancer. When you become healed of that illness, because your soul comes in and does that for you, you know what? You become so in gratitude. A lot of people still don't have that awareness and don't get to that stage, because there's an evolutionary process to get to that level, but they still do change generally when they have cancer and they beat it. They think, oh, I'm so lucky to be alive, but there's different levels of that awareness that take place. And I just know that whenever I see someone with cancer, I think to myself, gee, what a gift this is for you, and you're going to see it one day. You will see the gift that you have been given, because it actually is that. Never feel victimized if you have cancer, because when you're a victim, you're living in the past. The past is the past. Let it go. You can't change that. The present is right here and now. Devote all of your attention and your energy into the present. And if you have cancer, please, and I will share this with you, forgiveness is the key. It is the golden key. If you want to be healed of cancer, do forgiveness work. Get a piece of paper, write names, male and female on the top, put a line down the center, and this is what you do. Write down all the names, and one by one, write these people a letter. And in the letter, say to them what they did to you and how they made you feel, how they hurt you. Write, I'm angry, bitter, resentful, I'm humiliated, I feel betrayed, I feel unloved, I feel all these emotions. And then say, this is what I wanted from you. Let them know what you wanted. You wanted to be treated with dignity, with respect and love and compassion and understanding and loyalty. Say all the things that you are wanting, and then say, I now release you, and I now forgive you, and I now release me, and I forgive myself, and I give appreciation and gratitude for what has happened, because through this process you've helped me to learn, to grow, to heal, to transform energy, and of course to evolve. So if you have cancer and you're watching this program tonight, start some letter writing, people, because you have no idea how much your soul will rejoice. It will rejoice. It will be dancing, it will be exhilarated, and it will be singing your praises, because this is what your soul, if you are sick, is seeking. And when you do that, and you might have to do many letters to a specific person, if you cannot lump everything into one, you will find that you will have more significant depth of results. So when you write the letter, just do one topic at a time if it's a person that's hurt you many times, because it's like it goes deeper. And just do the letters. You are not to discuss the letters with anyone. Never ever show letters to anyone. Never ever 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 dwell on the letters. Once you've written them, take a big deep breath in, hold it, and then just exhale it. Exhale those emotions. And what you do, if you're in a place and it's safe, burn the letter. But do not put yourself at risk that you might burn yourself. If you can't, just cut it up into pieces and discard it, or you may shred it. But the most important thing is here, you are not to talk about it. When people come to me for soul forgiveness workshops, do you know what? They shred their letters at the end. No one gets to discuss them, because this is between you and your creator. And the whole purpose is that your soul already knows before you come to my workshop what you are going to be doing. And the soul already knows. And when you sit there and start writing, you're working from your soul, because I'm doing healing on all the people there, and I'm working with their soul. And it's the most powerful thing. And they just write and write and write, and they are purging emotions. You can do this at home. in the privacy of your own home. I find many people don't do them at home because they couldn't be bothered, but here it's a sacred setting, and the environment is right and the energy is right, and they're receiving healing through, I'm there sending healing and meditating at the same time, and the results are phenomenal. Everyone wants to come back. They all say, can I come to your next one? It's so powerful. And people sometimes think, I don't have anything to forgive. Well, I can tell you, their soul knows plenty to forgive, because quite often it's not about this lifetime. They are wanting things from past healed, and they will surface them from the subconscious to the conscious mind, or sometimes from the superconscious, which is the soul, to the subconscious. And when they're here or in the presence of the right people, it will surface to the conscious awareness. So if you are sick, I want to share with you, please write letters, because the letters are going to be so freeing, so cathartic. And if you cry, you rejoice if that cries. You know why? Because these tears are all inside and they are waiting to be released, because tears block energy. And when they block energy, that's how disease forms. So whenever you're feeling tearful, if you're doing a letter to somebody, you rejoice, because you are releasing so much within you that really your soul wants released. So in saying that, if you ever in the future, it doesn't matter who you are, get diagnosed with cancer, do not go into despair or anger or victim, because you know what? Help is there inside of you. All of you, every single person on this planet has got the answers inside of you. And if you don't know how to access...
Lisa, can I
Yes?
just interrupt just for a moment? Just for a moment.
Yes, yes.
No, there's a couple of things that people have shared that I want to share with you. But I feel that when you find out that you've had cancer, and I've found that out a couple of times in my lifetime, you know, your first response, you know, it's okay to tell people not to respond. I think it's healthy that people do respond, because in that response, one, there can be release of tears. Two, there can be recognition of self-discovery, and two, I guess, the source of the pain or the dis-ease can be identified. So I feel that that's an important part of the healing process. But there's also a beautiful Caroline Walker here says, and you know, what if you don't have the growth in this time? What about the people that, and this is my question, Caroline, but it supports yours, what about the people that keep on getting cancer? Are they contracted to come back and do it again?
Okay, so, and I will explain that. So when cancer gets recreated, it's because there's different levels of forgiveness work to be done. I know that to be true.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, now that's exactly right. And apparently Caroline's also saying that there is a book called Radical Forgiveness. Is that correct, Lisa?
Okay, so I will speak about that. Radical forgiveness is a technology. I live, breathe, sleep, walk, talk it. 15 years ago, I did Colin Tipping's 3-day workshop in Australia. He came from the United States to Australia, and I did the 3-day intensive workshop in 2003. And the whole time I was saying to the divine, I want to do this, I want to be a facilitator. And I was getting told, no, you have to do this work. Your sister will do this. My sister was there with her partner. At the end of the 3-day workshop, sure enough, she said she wanted to be a coach. She did do the coaching course, and she's been my coach for 15 years. Radical forgiveness technology has transformed everything about my life. I was told that day, the third day.
Lisa, the question was, is there a book called Radical Forgiveness?
Oh, yes.
That's
the question is, the answer is yes, there is. I highly recommend it to everyone on the planet. This book is transformative for any grievance. We're not just talking cancer, we are talking everything. It transforms energy.
I mean, reading a book and being a facilitator of Radical Forgiveness and being a profound healer like you, that's two different things. So that there is a book called Radical Forgiveness. There is a healing modality called that. But when you have had, 15 years experience in the modality, you're a master of it. And also you've got the letter writing. When I had my cancer and was having treatment during I think I wrote 9 journals, and that was back when I was 34 to 38. It was just part of my own process. It just came to me naturally. I've always been a person that's written when I have had dis-ease in my body. So the cathartic effect of writing during a cancer is very profound. And you do have those moments where emotionally you don't share your writings and you don't read it to anyone. It's just really personal.
No,
It's a way of
absolutely.
healing. So
Yes.
I can absolutely attest to that, and I recommend it to everyone. Actually, is that you really need to start journaling
Oh,
because
yes.
it's a way of getting the mind chatter out of the mind as well. So
Absolutely.
it's a just great way to keep your physical body clear. So then work on the meditation that also helps your ethereal bodies, and plus that connects you to your higher consciousness. Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
yeah, Lisa, before we go any further, I think that we're losing volume. So before we crack up and go out again, which I don't want to do because I can hear the interference from your end, Lisa. So, Lisa, before we lose contact again with our beautiful people that have been watching, so committed to tonight's show, so thank you all so very much. But, Lisa, where can people contact you? How can they contact you? And yes, all that, please.
So I have a business called Caring Energetic Healing, and I have a website, www.caring energetic healing, CARINGENERGETIC, caring energetic, HEALING.com. So I have that business. I have a website for that. Then I'm on Facebook under Lisa Ohtaras. I've got a personal page, and I've also got a professional page under Caring Energetic Healing, where I write blogs, and I've got posts, and I've got quotes, and I've got interviews that I have done, because I'm all about helping people. And if you have never heard of Radical Forgiveness or bought the book, please invest in that. It's one of the best investments you people will ever make in your life. And I want to share this, Beth, because I was told this 15 years ago. The third day after I came home from the workshop, this is what happened. The divine said to me, Lisa, you have done growth, and we are very happy, and we commend you for everything you've done. You've healed yourself. But they said, this today, as of today, this is mandatory. And I said, what do you mean mandatory? They said, well, it's not even a directive or a request. It's mandatory for you for the rest of your life. And I said, oh, why is that? And they said, because there is nothing that transforms energy like this. It was created by the divine, channeled to Colin Tipping. He probably doesn't even know. I don't know. But all I know is that they said that he was the instrument chosen to bring this to the world. And they said that this energy is going to transform energy in you and other people like you and other people that are sick that want change. And they said, and this is the energy to do it. We have created this especially for transformation to take place at a deep soul level. So for the last 15 years, because this is the concept of radical forgiveness, everything is spiritually and divinely guided. There is no bad and there is no wrong. There's perfection in the imperfection, and it's done for you and not to you. So in essence, when anything happens to anybody on this planet, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are, look at it like this. It's always going to be 100% growth, 100%. So your soul is co-creating with another person at a soul level. It could be one person, it could be two, it could be a group of people. It's going to be a soul-to-soul dance that is being done because your soul's bringing up the emotions so that you can learn, grow, heal from within, transform energy, and change. And whenever anything happens in my life, rather than going to a victim, which once upon a time before I knew this, I used to go straight to victimhood and be a victim in every situation. But now when something negative happens or a challenge happens, I say, okay, so what's the growth opportunity here being presented to me? Even if I don't like it, because I don't like a lot of things that happen to me, and I think, why is this happening? Well, I know it's growth, but what's the inside? I do the worksheet. The worksheet's got 20 steps, but there's also a 7-step process and 13-step process CD you can buy. But I've condensed it in my head because I've been doing them for so many years now, because I live and breathe this technology, because for me it's been my salvation, literally. And you know what? By the end of the worksheet, the person you're angry with, you've transformed it and you're not angry anymore. It's like, and people with cancer, when they come to me, it's straight away, I teach them this about radical forgiveness, because once they start doing it, they see, yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
Oh, I wish I could see you, but anyway. So when you...
I'm so passionate, Beth.
That's okay. I just need to get a word in every now and then. I think that when you do this work, you know, if you're upset or angry with someone, or you're doing the writing around the issue or the disease or the disturbance that you've had with them, and it allows, I guess, radical forgiveness and growth for you. But does that, even though you haven't communicated with them, because we are energy, does that energetically change your relationship with them, and does that help them heal as well?
Okay, so I'll explain that to you. What happens is when you do a radical forgiveness worksheet, and I know this because I have been told by the divine, when you do the worksheet, your higher self goes to their higher self and downloads to them. Lisa's just done a worksheet on you. Now the higher self then downloads to the ego. Now sometimes you will see a shift in that person. Sometimes, not always, because the ego can sometimes be very dominant. But what happens is, quite often, you'll see a shift in that person, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to ring them or anything, because this is energetic. It's like a soul-to-soul thing that happens. And
yeah,
people,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and people that you haven't spoken to for years will just suddenly pick up the phone and ring you. But this is what I do want to really reiterate about radical forgiveness. You are not doing radical forgiveness for other people. You are doing it for yourself, to free yourself. But the consequence of that is you are helping others as well. And in this incarnation, yes, and yes,
you know, what you
and
do for
in
yourself, you
yes,
impact and change.
oh, and something else I've been taught and shared by the divine, that any person that's doing radical forgiveness in this incarnation is helping the whole family down the line. So it's going to help your children and their grandchildren, and it's going to be a linear thing, because this is a genetic thing. So as I do the growth, I'm helping my daughter, her children to be. It's just so powerful, and this is why I continue to breathe this and share this with everyone I know, because I know how transformative this energy is. The divine keeps telling me it is.
Oh, I've lost her again. Oh, she might come back on, but that was happening. And yes, baby, hello, how are you? And it is a ripple effect. And what you do for one generation, you do for those above and below. And from the divine healings make manifest. It's Mercury retrograde. Oh, who knows? I'll see if Lisa can come back on. I don't think she will, but it will be just to say goodbye. So, oh, here she is. I'll see if I can reconnect with her. I'll just see how we go. Okay, I've just added you again, my dear darling. Oh, what a night. You're not wrong. Lisa, can you hear me? Hello. She's back.
Hello. Oh my goodness, it happened again. Can you see me, Beth?
No, I can't. I haven't been able to see you all night.
Oh, okay. So I don't know what happened then. There's lots of technical glitches.
I think while we've got it, we're going to say goodnight, because I feel
yes.
that
yes.
We've had an amazing show. You've shared so much amazing information. Everyone's got your contact details, and you can copy and paste it. I can copy and paste it to the program. We'd really love it if you would share this with your audience as well. So Lisa Ohtaras can reach your audience, and that Claim Your Mastery can have a greater audience as well. Lisa, any passing goodbyes before I say goodnight to everyone?
Well, first I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity, privilege, and the greatest honour to be here to share this this information. It's something I wanted to do for 2 decades, and I do it one-on-one, but to do it now on a larger scale is just really very, very exhilarating for me, because I believe it's going to help a lot of people, number one. And number two, I would like to say to the audience, thank you for tuning in and listening to this knowledge. And if you can share this with other people to give them inspiration, because you all have the innate capacity within yourselves to heal from within. And this is the message I want more than anything to be out there. And never see any disease as the end of your life, because it's not like that. Disease comes forth for growth purposes, and it's just to help you to have an awareness of what's in there so that you can do the growth, personal or spiritual, or sometimes both, and and literally be on your healing journey, because you know what, it's all part of why we've emerged here onto this planet. And I wish everybody the greatest successes in their growth, because growth just completely transforms you in a way that I can't even put into words. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. Every day I'm changing, because I'm constantly growing, which is a choice I've made, and I love it. And once you start on the journey, you just don't stop. And look, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Lisa, it's an absolute honour and pleasure to have you as a regular guest on Claim Your Mastery TV. And I also like to put an offer out to all those people that watch this now and in the future, that whenever Lisa's on, please, if you have any questions that you wish to ask her, she'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And I, as Lisa mentioned previous, because I haven't shut down this this particular segment, Lisa, so we haven't broken this. This has just gone live, this last section. So there's all your information's been in this particular quadrant. So we will repeat that, but Lisa will be a regular on Claim Your Mastery TV, and I know that she would be only very, 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 very happy to answer any questions that you may have in regard to the amazing, I guess, collective mastery that she has, because she's a master in many fields of healing, and has studied and works constantly advancing her skills and her knowledge and her ability to be able to transform change in people's lives, not just with cancer, but with emotional, spiritual, and physical disease. To be a facilitator of change either in person or by distance. I've experienced healings from Lisa myself, and they're very relaxing. And I didn't need to be in her company for us to be able to enjoy the process of her healing abilities. So please know that you don't have to be in Sydney, that you can be anywhere in the world and experience this lady's amazing ability to be able to perform transformative healing with you, for you, through you. We look forward to our continued association, Lisa, and thank you so very much from my heart to yours. Thank you for being on Claim Your Mastery this evening.
Thank you so much, Bethy Lane Haynes. You are a beautiful soul, and as I said, I feel very honoured to be on your program, and you do the most amazing work interviewing and giving the platform to so many beautiful souls that are touching so many people's lives across the world. And you're very loved by many, and that I can tell you, especially me.
Oh, thank you, so beautiful. Very, very, very much. It's been
Namaste
really
to you, beautiful one. It's been very interesting, and we were very challenged.
We were. So we're talking about the stories of the soul. Tonight's all about the transformative soul contracts that we make, that we are here to transform and elevate above and to conquer and to become a greater version of ourselves. And Lisa will be back with us very soon here in Claim Your Mastery TV, my darlings. But also remember that you are the master that you were seeking. Thank you so very much. And I'll be back on Thursday night, actually, with David. David's joining us from New Zealand, so it's going to be an earlier show. It'll be 5 p.m. Australian time, because he's in New Zealand. So I look forward to you joining us then. But good night now from all of us here at Claim Your Mastery TV and our special guest, Lisa Ohtaras. Bye for now.
Good night, everybody.